What's up, everybody? John with Team Set Pass. Today we don't have a deck profile for you guys, but we're going to talk about some rulings with Cyber Dragons and the archetype, just so you guys are playing the deck as good as you can, and so that people aren't cheating you at different events. So the first card we are going to talk about is going to be Cyber Dragon Core. So say that you summon your core and they Solemn Judgment it, and they have a monster on board. Since the summon never happened, the search never happened, you can use the banish effect. If they happen to Solemn Strike it when you use its search effect, then you cannot use the banishing from graveyard effect. But if they negate the summon, then absolutely you are free to do so. Veer with core, we always say like summon core, search successful, chain one, then say chain two and reveal the Veer in your hand to protect cards like Ash Blossom from negating your core. But it doesn't just do that. Like an on the board boss monster like Appaloosa or a Boral Savage, the trigger effect comes before the quick effect, so you can actually chain block your core from those other types of negates on the field. So say like versus Spiral, if they have the Trigate lock with Appaloosa and Sleeper, you can summon core, summon successful, chain one, chain two to protect your core search. They might end up using Sleeper then and popping both of them, but you could like just search your rev system and then bait out the negate from Trigate at that point, rev system one back, contact fuse, tear apart boards that way. But just remembering Fear does not only chain block against Ash Blossom. When banishing from the graveyard, it can summon any Cyber Dragon monster from your deck, not just Cyber Dragon. So that means your Fear, your Core, your Hertz, your Naxter, or just the original Cyber Dragon. It can summon any of them. Say you summon this and they activate an on the field negate, like an Infinite Impermanence, an Effect Veiler, something of that sort. You can chain, assuming you have another one on field or face up banish, Cyberload Fusion, which would shuffle this back into the deck. Then say their impermanence would resolve without target, and then core search would still go through. Also, assuming it was set already the turn before, when they try to negate it, you can do the same thing with your overflow and banish it to make it leave the field and that cause them to lose their target that way. Something like Ash Blossom wouldn't work because it negates the effect, not negate the effects of a face-up monster like Infinite Impermanence would. So some things to remember about Cyber Dragon Core. Bringing us to Cyber Dragon Hertz. So this was something I saw the other day, a topic being considered about it, because in North America, if say you Galaxy Soldier and pitch Hertz to the graveyard and they chain DD Crow and banish Hertz, you won't get Hertz's effect. In Europe, in OCG, you will, but the United States is really kind of dumb on this matter and why they do it that way. It's because if, say, you normal summon it and link into Linkuriboh, then it goes to the graveyard, then it would chain and DD Crow would have to respond to it. It already activated. But in this scenario, it'd be these two in hand. It'd be discard, attempt to special summon Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, DD Crow, banishing it. So then it would summon. Hers is not in the graveyard anymore. Personally, I feel like it went to the graveyard, it met its activation costs, but the way the US rules it, it has to be in the graveyard when it activates. So you would only be able to get your soldier's effect off. Like I said, unless you normal summon it and link it off for like a Linkuriboh or Almirage, then you will get it regardless if they DD Crow it or not, because then they can't Crow directly to the summon here because you have first attempt to activate an effect that triggers. So you have priority to activate hers after linking before they can DD Crow. Hers and Galaxy Soldier, or hers and Naxter if you discard it. You can choose which way to chain link 1, 2, 2, 1, or same thing, 1, 2, 1, 2, same with Soldier, 1, 2, 1, 2. So keeping that in mind. And a big one, Hertz has to add Cyber Dragon, meaning from the graveyard, you're okay to add your core, your Naxter, your Fear, your Hertz. But if you're adding from the deck, I've seen multiple people talking about adding core from the deck. You cannot do that because core is not Cyber Dragon in the deck. So keep yourself from misplaying. Don't do it. Try not to, at least. Bringing us on to our next one here. Oh, one last thing about Hertz. I've seen a lot of people like at regionals and stuff. They'll say like, oh, effect to add, and then their opponents say, what's your target? And they'll tell them, and then they'll like DD Crow it or something. Hers does not target, so don't tell your opponent until after they don't respond or do respond. Hertz does not target. Naxter, assuming you have a target in grave already, like say we have our Seeger in grave and Lynn Karibo is also in the graveyard, you summon it, target your Seeger, then they activate like an on-field kind of like core, negate, infinite permanence, widow anchor, effect veiler. Then you chain link 3 Lynn Karibo because Naxter does not lock you into machines until its revival from grave effect resolves. I've seen people think it's also the special summon from hand effect. It's only the reviving from grave effect, and it's not until it resolves. So in this case then it would be chain resolve backwards. Lynn Karibo would summon, their card misses resolves no target, and then Naxter resolves summoning your Seeger, and now you're locked into machines. But Lynn Karibo was summoned before Naxter resolved. So keep that in mind too. It's a really good play to have in your arsenal. Fear. If Fear gets special summoned, you cannot dupe your baby Cyber Dragons because now they have too much attack. And the special summon of Fear will not trigger Infernal Reckless because the moment it touches the field it has 1600 attack, needs 1500 or less. So keeping them in mind, and say for whatever reason you want to chain block your core and they have a monster in the extra monster zone, you can contact Fear in that monster out to make room for your machine dupe to be able to go off. But I'd almost rather them negate core than machine dupe, so it's not necessarily the best option to go that way. Cyber Emergency can add itself back to your hand by discarding a card if they negate the activation. So we're going to use these 2 cards again. You play Emergency, they Boral Savage, negate the activation. You can discard a card, add it back to your hand, and replay it. You activate Emergency and they ash it. It negates the effect, not the activation, so you cannot add it back and you cannot replay it. Oh. Emergency can search any light machine that cannot be normal summoned also, meaning Cyber Eltanin, you can search off Emergency. Kaiju, you cannot search off Emergency because despite the fact that you're basically never going to, you can normal summon it if you so choose to. Our other search card, Repair Plant. This can search our Galaxy Soldier, can search our Jizukiru. I want to talk about its second effect and the fact that you can activate both. So playing Machine Dupe or like 3 Galaxy Soldiers, you can take advantage of the second effect. If you have 3 Cyber Dragons in grave, you can activate both effects in sequence, meaning say you have 3 Cyber Dragons in grave and you want to search out Galaxy Soldier, but you already have 2 in hand or 2 in graveyard, you can search your 3rd Galaxy Soldier and then shuffle back 1 from graveyard. So now you can use the 1 in hand, get that 1 that you just shuffled back. Additionally, you can put back your OG Cyber Dragon and keep your machine dupes live with the second effect of Repair Plant. Rev System. Don't forget that it protects against destruction. I feel like a lot of people really do, and I can't tell you how many times that actually saved me. Also, another card, it does not target. Cyberload Fusion being a quick effect means you can use it in the damage or in the battle phase. Keeping in mind, if you Cyberload Fusion out Rampage in the battle phase, yes, it can pop spell and traps, but no, you cannot mill 2 to gain 2 attacks. That's why the Cyber Twin play is very popular and common, because it doesn't need to activate to attack twice in the battle phase. Additionally, it says for the rest of the turn, only that monster can attack. So being quick play, you can attack with a bunch of stuff first, and then play your Cyberload Fusion and finish off your opponent. Machine Dupe, I've seen people ask, like, if I have core, can I choose to summon 2 core? No, you cannot. Unless it's negated, you have to summon 2 core in that instance, like if the effects are negated. You cannot choose what to summon. You have to summon whatever its name is on the field. Infernal Reckless Summon, when it triggers, obviously your opponent has to have a monster, but then you both have to summon as many as possible. It is not optional. You have to do it. So say you actually chain, like you special summon your Naxter, chain link 1, chain link 2, and say you targeted like an Infinity or so, but you have 4 Cyber Dragons in graveyard, you have to summon all 4 of them. And now this resolves with no effect, but it still locks you into machines. So just be really careful in that instance, because you have to summon as many as possible. So keep that in mind. I call it the genius play because it's kind of genius and it uses Cliffort Genius. When you our normal plays like Core Dupe would get you to, like, you could go into Seeger and then go into Genius on top. Core would have searched like Rev System, and some get your Infernal Reckless Summon out. Then you go to both arrows, you can search your Kaiju, and you're going to get out enough level 5 Cyber Dragons too that you can go into a Nova, go into Infinity. Now your opponent also gained 2 more monsters, but Infinity can absorb 1, and you just searched out a Kaiju off your Genius, so you can Kaiju 1 and then go into Fortress Dragon, and you just got rid of 2 of the 2 monsters they just plussed. So keep that in mind. Definitely, if you can get to Genius, Infernal Reckless Summon is just stupid good, because you can clear out the 2 monsters they're going to plus on anyway. Another one I've seen people have their opponents do them. They'll like Called by the Grave Cyber Dragon, and then they like your core on the field will be like, oh, it's Cyber Dragon, it's negated. Only affects those with the original name that you banish, so Core's original name is not Cyber Dragon. Last main deck card we're going to cover in this video, Overflow. Such a busted trap card. One of the best trap cards in the game, if you ask me. There is no cost, there is no target, and if it gets destroyed, you get to search. Can't really get much better than that. Definitely deserves foil printing, but keep that in mind. It does not, don't show how many you're going to banish. Don't say how many you're going to pop. Just activate it, ask for a response, and wait, and then do your thing. If they happen to banish your only possible choice for it, well, then it just resolves without effect. So that can suck, but it won't happen too often. Additionally, say like they try to Twin Twisters or do something to pop it, you can chain it, banish your cards, pop their field, then at the end of the chain their card destroys it, and then it triggers its effect that you get to search anyway. And I really like to search out Overload or Cyberload Fusion. In my one regional, I was versing a Salamangreat, and he had Impermanence and the field spell, and he activated Impermanence on my core summon, and I knew it wasn't gonna do, I wasn't gonna be able to get rid of their field spell, but I chained Overflow. I had Hearse in grave. I banished core from my field, Hearse from my grave. So 1, it protects core's search from Impermanence, and then 2, I banished 2 and popped his Imperm and his field spell, but he banished Banelinks anyway, which I knew was gonna happen. But I just wanted to banish my 2 Cyber Dragon monsters, because then core search goes through Cyberload into Rampage, popped his field spell that time, milled 2 and attacked for 63, which happened to be game at the time anyway. Some extra deck monsters. I have it in another deck at the moment because I'm doing a lot of profiles. Fortress is Cyber Dragon, but Mega Fleet is Cyber Dragon monster. That's why you can set like Core, Hertz, Naxter, Fear, and then go into your Mega Fleet that way, because it's Cyber Dragon monster. Chimera Tech Fortress, however, is specifically Cyber Dragon, so they need to be face up, effect not negated. Rampage. The main effect of his milling 2 is to mill 2. It is not the same as the Mermill card where it's all kind of one effect. The main part of the effect is to mill 2, so you can do it turn 0, and yes, you can do it in main phase 2. Also keep in mind that's a soft once per turn effect. So say you get out a second copy, or you do it mill 2, go into like a Nova, detach it to summon Naxter from grave, revive it. You can mill 2 again and still be able to just completely run over your opponent because it's a soft once per turn. Nova vs. Solemn. Yes, it triggers the summon a fusion monster effect because Nova says if this card in your possession, it does not say from the field. So yes, Solemns do trigger Nova's effect. Possession is extra deck, hand, deck, graveyard, banished, field, it's everything. So yes, Nova will trigger if it gets Solemned on summon. Pleiades. I've seen people go into like Nova, bring back a Cyber Dragon, Overload, get Rampage out, go into Pleiades, 2 rank 5s, nice and easy. Except Pleiades needs 2 light level 5s. So you cannot use Rampage for your Pleiades. There's still lots of ways we can do the 2 rank 5s, but using Rampage just happens to not be one of them. Cyber Dragon Seeger. When this card boosts a monster, first off, yes, it can boost on your opponent's turn or your turn. It does not matter either or as long as it did not declare an attack. This card takes no battle damage that turn, meaning Seeger, not the card that boosted. So if they attack the card that got boosted anyway, there will be battle damage. If you attack with the card you boost, there will be battle damage. Seeger, however, if he uses the effect, there will be no battle damage. Finally, Clifford Genius versus Mystic Mine. This card is unaffected by spell and trap effects. Mystic Mine affects the player, not the card. So if they have Mystic Mine on the field, no, you cannot use Genius to turn it off. Unless you have less monsters, then in that fact you could turn it off, get out more monsters, and it's already off for the turn. But if you have more monsters, no, you cannot Clifford Genius and attack. No, you cannot Clifford Genius and turn off Mystic Mine. Additionally, if you already used Cyberload Fusion, this affects the card. Only this monster can attack for the rest of the turn, meaning it affects the monsters on the field. Not affected by spell and traps. So if you Cyberload and get your Rampage out, yes, Clifford Genius can still attack. 18 plus your 63 is 81 for a potential OTK. So keep both of those things in mind. Just turning off Floodgates, pretty good card in general. If you're not already, like, share, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and hope this helps you play the deck better. We have ABC deck profile coming up. Combo Cyber Dragon, much anticipated. Just waiting on 2 more cards to arrive. Still getting a little frustrated, but as soon as they're here, we will get that deck profile up for you guys also. And we will be doing a hand trap versus the meta coming up within a week or so here in regional recap number 2. The first one worked out pretty good and not too surprising other than Salamangreat having the second most tops of the format so far. Sky Striker does have a top 8 that wasn't in the video but was found out afterwards. Cyber Orcust, we got 1 on the board, Blair Hunter winning. Spiral taking up 28%, but I really think these next couple weeks of regionals are going to shake that up quite a bit as the format actually gets defined. So hope you guys enjoyed and can't wait until next time.